Alright, so I'm going to open up and disassemble this DELL Latitude 7480. Alright, so I already took or undid a bunch of the screws, so just undo all the screws. The screws actually stay in place. You don't need to remove them from the shell. Alright, you just unscrew them until they stop coming out, and you should be okay. Alright, make sure to undo all these screws. Alright, so there's 2 down here, there's 3 here, and then there's 3 more here. Once you remove all the screws, you want to actually lift up from the back here. It's kind of clipped in place, but you lift up like that. Once you do that, you can lift it out at an angle like this and flip it over. So there we go. We got the thing out. That's how you remove the cover. There's 2 slots for RAM, DDR4. To remove the RAM, just pull these 2 tabs to the side, okay? I am going to have to do a complete disassembly on this. The customer said that liquid was spilled on it, so I have to check, make sure everything looks dry and clean. This is a 16 gig stick PC4 2400T, so you can get any PC4 2400T, but just make sure other than that you can get any size. Again, PC4 2400T, very important. Alright, we'll set the RAM aside, but if you're going to put it back, make sure you just put it at an angle like that. Get it in the slot completely, and then push it down until it clicks into place. Alright, so again, I'm going to leave this out because I need to double check that there's no liquid damage in here. There's something, just noticed something kind of in there, some yellow thing. I don't know what that is. I'm going to try and brush it off with the toothbrush, and it looks like it's coming out, so it should be okay. Alright, and yep. Alright, so we're going to set the RAM aside. Alright, next we're going to go ahead and remove the SSD here. I already disconnected the batteries. If you're wondering, the battery, you grab this tab and then you pull it up, and then you got the BIOS or CMOS battery that you grab the wings and you kind of just wiggle and pull it back. If you're not sure how to do that, you can watch my other videos. I show how to do that in most of the repairs I do. And then after you disconnect the battery, it's always a good idea to open up the computer and press and hold the power button for about 10 to 15 seconds. Alright, I pretty much already did this, so I don't really need to, but I'm going to do it anyways, alright? Just as an example, you want to do that. Okay. Alright, after you do that, close it down. Alright, so I'm going to actually take everything out, but okay, again, let me do the SSD first because that's what more people will be interested in. This looks like a M.2 SATA SSD, so I don't know if this laptop also supports PCIe NVMe or not. But once you remove the screw, you can lift it up slightly at an angle, and then you can pull it back. Alright, so let's see here. Micron, it's a SATA. It actually says SATA right there. That's how you know. Usually the SATA SSDs will have 2 notches in them, and the PCIe NVMe will have just 1 notch over here. But that's not always the case, so don't just assume based on the notches. You want to actually check if it is SATA or PCIe NVMe. Alright, so I'll set that aside. Let's go ahead and pull the battery out. You want to keep all the screws in order because they can be different size, shape, and lengths. Let me actually zoom in a bit here. The battery, if you're wondering, model number is F3YGT. Alright, F as in Frank, 3, Y as in yellow, G as in George, T as in Thomas. Alright, and let's go ahead and remove all the screws here. So 1 there, 1 on this side. Again, you want to keep the screws in order. The way I do it is I put the flat side down on my desk and then put the screws in the pattern I remove them. So you see 2 here, and then I see 2 here, and that's how I would remember where the screws came from. Alright, to remove this battery, okay, I think we don't need to, actually, is that underneath? Actually, I don't think these are for the battery. These look like for the trackpad. So actually, we only need to remove the 2 screws up here. I'm actually going to put these 2 screws for the trackpad back in place, or the touchpad buttons. Alright. Okay, we got those 2 back in. And then it actually looks like there's little feet for the battery. So what you do after you remove the 2 screws here, you lift the battery up this way, okay, and then you can go ahead and slide it out that way. So there you go, that's the battery. Battery looks okay. There is some slight like liquid residue here, but it's dried up, so hopefully it's okay. Alright, we're going to set that aside. I'm just going to analyze and look at the cables to make sure it doesn't look like there's any liquid damage here. You have this connector here let me actually zoom in. Hopefully I can show everything here. So you got this connector here for the touchpad or trackpad buttons here. All right, they look okay. You got this, I think this is for keyboard backlight, which also looks okay. And then you got this, it's for the touchpad goes to the motherboard here. So that's what connects everything. You got the keyboard connector that's also going into the touchpad. Then you got this smaller cable here and this here. I don't know all these little cables. There's so many different cables into this. I believe one of the cables is for the little touch thing in the center. So on the keyboard you have this piece. So I think one of them is for that. And then the other one, well, the fingerprint sensor's here. So that's not the fingerprint sensor. Interesting. So, oops, sorry. I need to zoom back out. All right, so fingerprint sensors here, that cable goes to here, and that connects to the motherboard here. And this cable connects to the smart card reader on the side here, which also goes to that board and goes up to here. So I'm not sure what this giant thing is for, something RFID. So it's a RFID reader, I guess. Again, I don't know what all these two other things are for. Maybe there's two separate backlight connectors. Usually these brown ones are for backlight. And then this is probably for the middle scroll wheel thing. All right, so what else did we miss? We got the speaker connector here. I'm gonna go ahead and remove that. Okay, so I just grab the wings like this with my fingernails, and then I kind of just wiggle it and just keep wiggling, pulling, and eventually it will walk its way out. Okay, you don't want to use too much force, just keep kind of wiggling it. If it's not coming out, you can apply a little more force, but it always helps to just keep wiggling and eventually it will come out. Oh, I can't really reach that wing that well, so I'm going to use my middle fingers. It's a little bit easier. Okay, and just keep wiggling, just keep wiggling. I don't know why this one is super difficult. It is slowly coming out, but there we go. Okay, so it helps to kind of like do more pushing forward this way than pulling down this way. Okay, here we go. There's a connector here. Says JLED1, so I'm not sure where it's going to, but it's for some LEDs. These kind of connectors sometimes are pretty difficult to remove because there's no wings, it's just flat. So now I actually got these super small needle nose pliers, which have the little teeth on it, so it's a little more rough. So what I do is I grab that with those needle nose pliers and I do the same thing, kind of just wiggling to slowly walk that connector out, just like that. Okay, all right, so let's go ahead and remove these two pieces as well. Let's flip this latch up, flip that latch up, and then this tape is probably holding it down, so it's going to be a little tough. You want to probably see if you can lift this tape out. Okay, so here you go. We kind of peeled the tape up, and then we can kind of wiggle this connector and pull it back. All right, let's see here. I don't know why it's stuck so strong. Okay, there we go. So we got those connectors out. Okay. All right, what else do we need to remove? We got the wireless card here. I don't know if I really have to remove that. I'll take it out and then flip it over. Usually I try and avoid disconnecting the wireless antennas if I don't have to remove them completely. Alright, so let's take the screw out and then move this metal bracket out of the way here. Okay, just like that. I'm going to keep the wings on there to keep it together with the screw. Okay, and we'll just set that aside. Oops. Okay, so the wireless card, once you remove the screw, you should be able to lift it up. I'm going to move these antennas out of the way. Okay, and then I'm going to get underneath here and lift the wireless antenna or wireless card up. Once you lift it up like the RAM, you can go ahead and wiggle and pull it out. Right, then we're going to just unroute these wireless antennas and move them out of the way. Okay, there's also a wireless antenna here, so we're just going to move those out of the way. Okay, everything so far is looking good. There's a spot here for another wireless card. It's a LTE card, so this is for Bluetooth and the Wi-Fi. This is more for like a cell phone internet type card. All right, or mobile internet card. All right, so there's these screws here that have little arrows pointing to them so that you know what to remove. Let's go ahead and actually see if we can remove the fan first though. Okay, so there's 2 screws holding this in place. One there. Again, keep all the screws in order because they are different size, shape, and lengths. If you mix them up, you can damage your computer. All right, so we remove those 2 screws, and it looks like the fan is attached to the heatsink, so I'm actually going to leave that attached. I'm not going to remove it. If you want to clean the fan, I like to use a toothbrush like this to loosen up the dust. I hold onto the fan blade so that it doesn't spin too loosely like this. All right, as you can see, when I hold it, it lets me turn the fan blades. If I don't hold it, the fans just keep going back and forth and doesn't spin. And then you can go ahead and brush the other way as well. And then usually I use an electric blower. I have also this handheld squeeze blower, and then you can go ahead and blow the dust out like that. I don't want to blow it all into my work area, so I'm going to leave it for now, and I'll use the electric blower later. Alright, so let's go ahead and remove some more of these connectors. We got the connector here for the LCD LVDS, so the screen, and then we also have this connector here, which I believe is for the camera or something in the screen. Alright, so let's go ahead and remove the screw here. Okay, that's holding that bracket down. Alright, then remove the metal bracket here. Okay. It's actually like latched in here somehow. Okay, so we'll lift it up over to the right, and then this, I don't know how it's latched. Oh, there we go. So it latches into this part of the board. So you want to make sure to kind of rotate it and flip it and lift it out, because if you just yank it straight up, then you can break the motherboard. Okay, so we'll remove that. Alright, so here the LCD LVDS connector. If you mess with this, make sure that you disconnected the battery and press and hold the power button for 10 to 15 seconds. That's very important. If you don't do that, there's a very good chance you're going to destroy either your screen, your motherboard, or the backlight circuit. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and remove this connector as well. Same thing, I just grab it and I just keep wiggling it and wiggling it as I pull. Okay, just like that. There we go. Okay, then we're going to go ahead and grab this. A lot of times these connectors don't come up easily just from pulling it, so I get my fingernail under there, and then I just pop up one side as I'm lifting this. Alright, let's see here. Wow, this one's pretty tough, so let's go ahead and try prying this side. There we go. Alright, so once you get that, let's go ahead and pull that out of the rubber thing. Alright, then you got the DC jack or charge port connector here. If you want to remove that, there's there's one screw here. Okay, so we'll remove that one screw, and then we can go ahead and move this metal bracket out of the way. Okay, and then the charge port can come up. What's that? Why is there something going into the charge port? Okay, get that out. Alright, and then if you need to remove the charge port, usually I like to grab here, and same thing, just kind of wiggle and wiggle as you pull. Just like this. Alright, a lot of times it's tough and I have to use like my thumbnails or something to do this. But yeah, just keep wiggling it and there you see it comes out. Okay, so now let's go ahead and remove the screws that are holding the motherboard in place. I don't know if these screws are holding it down, but let's see. I'm going to zoom out here and kind of try and show the whole motherboard. Okay, and then I'm going to go ahead and remove the screws that have these little arrows pointing at it. It says a M2 by 5. Right, so let's go ahead and remove that. Okay, one there. We're going to go ahead and remove the one up here. And if the customer is lucky, then we're just going to have to remove all the... Okay, this seems to be pretty stuck down. Oh, okay, there's some screws down here as well. Alright, don't miss those. These say M2 by 3. This one also is an M2 by 3, okay? So we're going to put that. So we got the 2 from this corner up here, and then we got the 2 from down here. Okay, again, I don't know if these need to be removed, but let's see if we can lift this now. Okay, it looks like the motherboard is lifting up, so what we're going to do, we're going to lift from the left side, I believe. Yep, I don't see anything holding it down there, so let's go ahead and lift from the left side over here. Then you want to slowly, gradually lift the board. You want to be very careful not to flex the board much. It looks like we do have to remove at least this one screw here. sorry, there's this one screw over here. These two I think are holding onto the USB-C port, but the one to the left of it, I think we have to remove that. So let's go ahead and remove that. And we'll see, hopefully that's the last screw. They did cover this with some plastic, so I don't know if it has the arrow pointing to it or not. I don't see one. But all right, let's go ahead and continue lifting again. Back from the left side, I'm using this. Okay, slowly lifting it, and we'll see, is it coming out? It feels like there's no other screws there. Yep, okay. So there we go. Be careful with all the cables down there next to it. Let me zoom out a little bit more. All right, here we can see there's some dust here, but I don't see liquid damage. There's some dirt and stuff stuck to it. So I'm gonna brush this thing off with a toothbrush, and then I'm gonna blow out the air vent here, and then we're gonna reassemble it. But it looks like there's not too much else that we're gonna have to do here. I'm gonna try cleaning off these things. The customer did say that their keyboard wasn't working properly, so it might be this cable is corroded. Actually, this cable looks okay. So I don't know. I hope it's, let's see, if they're lucky it could be the trackpad. There's two screws there. I don't know if there's other screws holding the trackpad in place, but yeah. All right, let's go ahead and get this cable back in. Flip that down. All right, so again, I'm gonna go brush this off with a toothbrush and blow it out with the electric air blower, and I'll see you guys in a bit. All right, I'll actually also clean this one as well. All right, see you guys soon. All right, so I'm back, cleaned out the motherboard, cleaned out the fan, cleaned out this. All right, so I found out actually this small cable here actually runs down here to the LED up there. All right, so now let's go ahead and put this thing back together. Here you can see on the back, there's not really anything on the bottom here that you can do. Okay, some stuff is still stuck there. But yeah, there's not really anything on the bottom of the motherboard. It looks dry, it looks clean, all right? So it should be okay. Most of the liquid residue I saw actually down here, so I don't know, hopefully it's okay. But anyways, we're going to put the motherboard back in. So you actually want to put this side in first, okay? So the USB-C port actually goes into this slot, I believe. So that's actually the one that you kind of want to line up first, okay? You can actually use this little hole that has the raised part as a guide, okay? Again, we're going to put it slightly at an angle like this. And let's see, it's kind of being a little difficult to do this. I wonder if there's a trick to it. It's pretty difficult. Okay. Oh, here you can see the two screws that I was talking about hold this metal bracket just to reinforce the USB-C port. Alright, so let's see here. Why is this so difficult to put in? I don't know, but back here there's something. It's kind of like hitting there, so it's kind of making it difficult. So I'm gonna guess let's try putting it more at an angle and then slowly lowering it. Yep, that worked. Okay, so putting it more, oops, okay, getting this back up is a little tricky. Kind of have to maneuver this around. Again, it gets kind of caught there. All right, and there we go. So the easiest way to get this back in is you kind of have this raised up like this, very high. Make sure the USB ports and the USB-C ports are lined up with the little hole there. Okay, and then slowly get that in, and there we go. All right, then of course while lowering this down, you want to be careful that you don't trap anything underneath. Right now we got the wireless card going under there. You don't want all of these cables to go underneath the board, of course. Same thing with all the cables down here. You want to make sure that they all end up on top of the motherboard. So get all of these out of the way. All of these out of the way. And yeah, slowly lower this down as you make sure that none of the cables end up underneath, okay? All right, stay on top, please. Go, and then the shortest cable over here, make sure that one ends up on top. Okay, there we go. So I used my screwdriver to help with that. Okay, there, so we got the motherboard seated back down. Let's go ahead and put the screws back in place. Okay, so we got the one up in this corner first. There we go. Right, then we got the two down here. Right, this one here. Okay, that one right there. And then the second one, there's two spots here, but make sure you put it at the one with the arrow here. Okay. Go. All right, so now we got those. We got these last two up here. Let's go ahead and get those. Okay, just like that, and just like this. Right, now that you got those two screws in, let's go ahead and start reconnecting everything. Well, actually, let's go ahead and put the fan screws in here. Okay, one screw there. You don't have to do this in the exact order, but if you don't know what you're doing, then just follow along. It'll be a lot easier to follow my guide than going around doing things that you don't understand. So yeah, if you don't know what you're doing, just follow the order I'm doing it. All right, let's go ahead and do the charge port now. So get that lined up, and then you want to pinch the connector and that together, just like that. All right, get the charge port down in there. Okay, grab this. You want to hook this piece over there. All right, and then get that lined up, and there we go. Right, you want to make sure this piece is slid up that way. There we go, and get this screw in. Okay, there we go. So we got that metal bracket now holding the charge port in place. Good. Let's go ahead and get this connector down. Actually, I should zoom in to make this a little bit easier to see, but I'm running out of desk space to move the thing over to the left. Okay, there we go. All right, so let's go ahead and get this into this rubber mounting area here. It's a little bit tricky. You might have to like pull the flap up by hand. Okay, just like that. Make sure to get that rubber flap back on top. There we go. Okay, get this one lined up. Make sure it's completely lined up, and then you can push that down, and then you can push that little flap over. Get this connector lined up as well. Make sure you have it the right side up. You can see actually the slits here the way it is. Make sure you have it the same way. All right, push the white part of this connector up into the connector. You don't want to try and push from the cable because you can damage that. I use my fingernails to push on the white part. There we go. All right, and then again, this latch, it hooks over this piece of the motherboard there. So get that over there, and then pull that slightly forward or towards yourself. There we go. All right. Get this screw and put that screw in. Okay, let's go ahead and put the stick of RAM back in as well as the SSD. So we got the RAM, get it lined up at an angle like that, and then click it down. Right, SSD down here, same thing, get that in at that angle. Hopefully you can see. Okay, at the angle, push the SSD in. Okay, the SSD, when you push it in, doesn't have to be pushed like diagonal. You can actually push it straight through. Okay, and then we'll get the screw in there. All right, now last pieces. Let's get the wireless card here. So let's start up here and just guide these wires down through here. So we'll get these wires all in here. Make sure you get it underneath this rubber piece. You can actually lift the rubber flap up. This one goes over this way, okay, and it tucks underneath this wing here. If you can tuck it back under there. There we go. All right, then we're going to go down here. Again, you kind of want to lift the little flap here up and out of the way, the rubber flap. Okay, it might help to use like a little tool. What did I do with that little plastic tool? Oh, here it is. Okay, so you can use like a little plastic pick like this, and then you can lift that up and get the cables under. Go, just like that. Now let's go ahead and get the wireless card in. It's kind of dusty, so let's wipe that off. Okay, get that in slightly at an angle like this. Then you can push it down, Then you want to actually get the antennas back in these little slots if you can. All right, just the way it was before. Okay, so you see you can get that antenna back in that slot, and then you can have these wires going through those little rubber guides. Okay, then we'll grab this wing thing, put that back on there. Okay, get the screw in, hold the wings down, and then tighten this in place. All right, now we're gonna get all these other connectors down here in. Don't forget them, otherwise your touchpad, your keyboard, all of that won't work. So make sure these little flaps are lifted up. Oops. Okay, and then we're gonna go ahead and get that connector in. It might help to actually tear this tape or peel it off. I don't know why they have that tape there, but whatever. If you can get it and you want to keep it the same as it was from the factory, you can try and do this. It's going to make it a little more tough. Let me see if I can. All right, because these connectors need to kind of go somewhat at an angle. There we go. So we got this one in. You can use the little blue tab to help pull it. I use my fingernail to do that. All right, and then let's get this one in. Again, it's a little tricky. You got to get it all lined up perfectly, and then you kind of have to lift it up slightly so it goes in at an angle like that, not straight this way. Okay, so I can use this plastic tool to kind of help with that. Let's see here. It's a little tricky. I might have to peel the tape off because how tricky this is, but let's see. There we go. Right, got it to go at that angle we wanted. Push that in. All right, here you can see the wings cleared this white part. All right, and then flip the latch back down. There we go. Let's go ahead and get the speaker connector back in, and the RTC or CMOS battery, BIOS battery here back in. Again, make sure you have the connectors are facing up the right way. Here you can see how it looks with the pins showing. Right, pinch the two pieces together. Don't forget the LED board connector here. Right, again, pinch the two together using the white plastic part to pull it. Don't try and use the wires. And then we got the speaker connector here. Get this all lined up. All right, and pinch the two together. There we go. So now we got everything reconnected. Last thing to reconnect is the battery. Let's zoom out here because the battery's pretty big. All right, try to clean up some dust here. All right, again, for the battery, since we took it out at an angle like this, we have to put it back in at that angle. So we slide it into place. Okay, it does have to make sure you get the notches lined up right. Okay, slide it in like that, and then drop this down. Make sure these screw holes are lined up there. Okay, then we're gonna go ahead and put the one screw on this corner here, and the other screw on this corner here. Okay, battery connector is very simple to reconnect. Just line it up and then push it back down. All right, there we go. Make sure it clicks all the way into place. Looks good. Let's go ahead and put the cover back on. Let me zoom out here. Okay, oops, uh-oh, battery's too low. The flash turned off. Okay, so I need to be quick because my battery's almost dead. All right, so next we're gonna put it at an angle like this. Okay, while you have it at that angle, you can, I like to twist the screw backwards and slowly lower it. Once I get it kind of lined up, then I'm gonna tighten the screw slightly. Okay, just like that. All right, and then let's go ahead and continue getting all the screws in. I like to always twist them backwards to hear a click first. All right, and then go like that. Then we can work our way up. Go ahead and push the cover back down. Here we go, same thing. I'll listen for that click and then twist it. All right, and then we'll just tighten all the screws, and that's pretty much all there is to it. So hopefully this video helped you guys. If it did, please like, subscribe. If you did remove the CMOS battery like I did and the regular battery, when you turn it back on, it might take a while to turn on. Just be patient. Don't try and force shut it off or anything because the BIOS is actually being reset. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Again, like, subscribe, share my channel with others. If this video helped you save a bunch of money, please throw a little my way. Every little bit helps, all right? Even $1 is greatly appreciated, all right? That's pretty much it, all right? I'm gonna power this thing on. Let me just finish getting all the screws in. Okay, let's go ahead and flip this over, and let's see here. Is it going to turn on? Okay, I didn't have to plug it in. The power light actually did come on. Let's make sure that the screen comes up. Again, sometimes when you first undo the CMOS battery and everything, it's going to take a while to turn back on. If for some reason it doesn't turn on even after like 5-10 minutes, then you're going to want to check the RAM. A lot of times the RAM is loose, or it could be the RAM is bad, so you might want to double check the RAM. The customer did spill liquid on this, so I don't know if it's going to turn on. I probably should have, well, it's not a good idea to try turning it on when there's liquid damage in it. So here you saw this light actually flashed off and back on. I saw the screen flicker for a second, so hopefully that means it's starting up. Again, I didn't see anything weird on the motherboard itself, but I don't know, the liquid could have dried up pretty fast. The power button light is still lit up. Let's see if it does anything. So again, sometimes it takes a long time for these things to boot up after disconnecting the BIOS or CMOS battery and then holding the power button. But it did reset a second time, and I saw the screen light flicker again, so I have a feeling that, oh, there we go. Okay, I was worried it was dead. So here you go. You can see time and date is all messed up, so you can actually press F2 to go to the setup utility and then manually set the date and time again, or you can just press F1 and it will actually boot up normally. So I'm going to press F2. Hopefully the keyboard is still working. The keyboard might be dead. So let's try F1. Nothing. F2. Nothing. F5. Nothing. Okay, so I'm going to get a USB keyboard and I'll be back, and then I'm going to go ahead and continue setting this up. All right, I'll see you guys in a bit. All right, I'm back. So I got a USB keyboard. Let's go ahead and try pressing F2. Okay, and the USB keyboard works. Let's see if any of the keyboard works at all. No, none of it. Okay, so none of the keyboard's working, so I guess we're just going to have to go without the keyboard. So here you can see the battery is discharging. All right, let's go ahead and go to the system information, and then let's go to date and time here. So the date and time you want to set up, I don't know what exactly the date and time. Oh, you're gonna have to unlock this, of course. It looks like because this is a company computer, there's a password on it, so I actually can't set the date and time properly. So I'm gonna just let the customer know they're gonna have to do this on their own. But yeah, you want to set the date and time there, and that's pretty much all there is to this. I'm gonna see if the computer actually boots up normally. It might. I don't know if they have BitLocker or something on it, but let's see. Hopefully it will boot or something. If not, their SSD might have an issue. So let's see, it just restarted itself. Come on. Okay. Again, it's booting, and the USB keyboard works, but the internal keyboard doesn't. So here you go, it's actually booting. Okay, I don't know if it's going to show customer information, so I'm going to like put this up this way. Some customers don't like if their information is shown, so let's give this a few seconds. Okay, if it boots up, then I will cover the username and then I will show the screen. It's saying please wait right now. Okay, so okay, looks like it booted to this. Press Control Delete. So it looks like they would have to use a yeah, I don't think any of the keyboard works actually. The little scroll wheel thingy here works okay, like I can move the mouse, but other than that, nothing's working. So anyways, hopefully this video helped you guys. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye.